Hey everyone, my name is Rooster and welcome back to Mechabellum. In today's video we'll be facing off against one of 201's strongest and most notorious players, I guess, from the past couple of seasons, Factory Master. Now, he is called that because he's actually requested that we give him that name, and well, as the name indicates, he is the player that only plays factories every single game. He might delay it if he really has to, but typically a factory will show up on round 4 on any of his boards, and if not on round 4, he will definitely try to buy one later. So yeah, against him, I always like to play aggro, and in this case, I start with my favorite specialist, Elite Spec. We have Fang Ball, which can be a little bit awkward, but I'm gonna try and make the most out of it. Fangs here on the front line with that moved up round 1 line is very nice. Don't have to worry about, the line moving forward 2 squares starting round 2. And I'm going to space them out in such a way that I have enough room for the steel balls to get through without kind of running the risk of him putting like a late missile to hit both the Fang and the steel ball. Now, added to that, I'm going to add some Hounds. I am Elite Spec after all, and I think that Hounds still are one of the better chaff clear units for aggro. They clear faster than Arclights, and at level 2, they don't really have any of the problems that you might encounter with level 1 Hounds, where they sometimes can struggle to one-shot crawlers. Now, that being said, one of the things Factory Master really likes to do is to buy Wraith. And I know this, and so I'm already kind of preparing here that I am going to need some type of anti-air, and perhaps even going to need to get into my own Wraith to be able to combat that if he decides to go for it. Also, this Fang pack here, you can see I mispositioned. I found this out while playing this game, actually, that I should be offsetting my Fang ever so slightly to the left or right when it's facing one of the big turrets, because otherwise it can splash exactly enough to kill 3 of the front Fangs. It's a small detail, but I think it actually can matter sometimes. We managed to get to the tower here, and we're going to start working on these sledgehammers and hounds that my opponent started with. Can we get through all of it is the question. I mean, I'm slowly running out of steel balls. Only one's left. That one's going to bite the dust, and now it's basically up to the hounds and fangs to clean the rest if they can. Opponent, by the way, is a cost control specialist, which will definitely allow him to get into the more expensive units quicker than he normally would be able to. It's always a bit scary when he gets an econ spec. And round number 2, some good cards are offered. Redeployment, definitely worth considering, but improved firepower control system and easy pickup if I want to go into Wraith, which I kind of did want to do. Now, as I said, opponent here already picks up a Wraith, which is something that he's been doing more and more over the current season, because, I mean, it's just such a powerful unit, really. Pairs really well, too, with Factory, because one of the kind of downsides to his gameplay is that it's somewhat hard to deal with very heavy air-based boards, because obviously the one thing Factory doesn't do is shoot up. Of course, you can start producing Phoenixes, but, it takes a while to get there, and before you manage to get to that point, it's a unit that's very vulnerable to heavy air boards, and so that's what I typically try to go for when I'm facing him. I play aggro and I play heavy air-based boards because I think air-based boards tend to favor aggro in the first place, and yeah, it just gives me a little bit more tempo in the early game because I don't want to get to round 10 facing him. Spawn Factory is one of the best, if not the best late-game comp in the game. Its skills completely out of control, so I want to try and get damage down early if I can, and close things out before I have to face, 5 fully teched spawn factories. Now, round number 2 here, we take it easy. It's round 2 on Elite, which is always a bit of a weak round. We put a Hound behind our left tower, as well as a Crawler behind our right tower. Kind of just fledging out some of our chaff clear, making sure that we have some chaff on the board too. But sadly, no anti-air here. Maybe I should have picked up a marksman, but yeah, a loss here. It's fine. The Wraith picks up some experience, but, it's not the worst thing. Not even halfway. And round 3, I should be able to pick up my own Wraith if I want to. That is kind of what we've been playing for, right? I held on to that item that we picked up. Another one shows up here. Haste module should be a quick pick. Improved Tarantula is interesting. Very, very good card. but I have to deal with the air here, and well, that's the nice thing about Elite. I typically don't enjoy playing mirrors that much, but hey, if I know that I'm heavily favored in them, I don't really mind too much. And on Elite, that's simply the case, because I'm able to get those units, the same units that my opponent has, at level 2. And, well, double the stats, right, from 1 to 2, that's simply going to win relatively convincingly. And yeah, you can see here, opponent just picks up another Wraith. He's a very, very greedy player in that regard. You will rarely see him kind of buy or commit very heavily into air or anti-air options if he doesn't get them from the game. And so here you can see we get double Wraith, but hey, we've got a level 2 with an improved firepower. A steel ball has been added as well. Perfect money in this case. Keep in mind, I am selling out of my hounds because they've got overlapping roles with my Wraith at this point. And because they're level 2, they actually give triple the amount of experience of a level 1 hound. And I want to make sure that, you know, his scaling is limited. I do not want the hounds to simply run in and die to his Wraith, feeding experience and making it easier for him to kind of get back into that mirror by getting some easy levels. So that's a small thing there. We do retrieve a bit of money, of course. Keep in mind, I'm also selling my towers, which or my buildings. That's something I always do when I'm playing aggro. I started with selling the turret that was on the right side since I'm pushing there, right? I don't expect him to push into me, so the tower is kind of useless. And then on the left side, we're doing the same thing now because I have the hound there to kind of chaff clear. You can see the beacon with the steel balls going to get to his tower. That Wraith makes quick work of the enemy Wraith. And, well, opponent was thinking of keeping a Wraith on the right side for a bit, ends up putting it on the left side of his board. And, yeah, it's just stuck doing nothing. Even gets pulled ever so slightly towards the middle because of those hounds. Has to get through the walls, and while it will grab a debuff, that's simply not going to be enough here to take down that level 2 donut that we have. Look at the damage. Quickly ramping up in the bottom left. Already up to 70k. Killing some sledgehammers. Those are worth a good bit of experience. And yeah, I mean, this mirror is not exactly favored for him. So, we're in a good spot here. Very nice. Managed to deal some damage as well. And now round number 4, we have an option of unit reinforcements. Keep in mind, these are a lot weaker than they used to be, right? Double level 1 Phantom Ray is a lot weaker than what you used to see on round 4, with like level 3 Scorpions, level 3 Typhoons. Very happy with this change. I think that now it's in a much more healthy spot. You don't get those like over-leveled units anymore, or like quad deployments that you used to see. And yeah, it feels like this is a good spot for unit drops to be in. Now, I decided to pick up Phantom because there was Wasp offered too, but I don't really want to run Wasp into his Wraith. And Phantom actually can kind of fight back into Wraith. It's a little bit tankier, a bit harder to kill, and it has a good amount of DPS as well. On top of that, it doesn't do a bad job here of protecting my Wraith. So we buy another one with that haste module that we picked up. Opponent goes for the immediate floating artillery array. And I was thinking to myself, I kind of want to have the floating artillery array as well. It cost 400, which means that I would be missing out on a deployment here. But maybe that's fine, because we did manage to grab another Wraith, and we got 2 Phantom deployments. So I go for the floating artillery array as well. Bit of a weird game, I will say. It's not common to go for floating artillery array first. Typically, you will always go range, but in this case, because I knew that he didn't have something like, you know, AA Farseer or AA Marksman, it's just like, you know, it's just a Wraith battling the enemy Wraith. So there's no point in me going for range first. I just need to get that DPS output. Opponent, by the way, picked up the Void Eye from the unit reinforcements and immediately clicked electromagnetic armor. Bit annoying, I will say. It's a very good counter to Wraith, and especially when I'm elite, it's gonna be hard for me to get my hands on an Overlord, which is the only way I'm going to be able to photon my Wraith. The other unit that can do it, I guess, is Farseer, but it doesn't hit air units, so it would only be able to hit the ground, and that means I need to, yeah, somehow get my hands on an Overlord on Elite, which, mind you, costs 750 at level 2, plus the unlock, which is 950, plus the photon coating. Yeah. It's expensive, for sure. Looks like we're still winning out, though. At this moment, he doesn't have a good response to my Wraith still. I mean, that's what I said, right? He's very greedy with the way that he plays his anti-air. And so, yeah, we're still in a good spot here, managing to keep 2 Wraith alive and doing some good damage, sending him down close to 3,500. Round number 5, Ion Blast shows up, Advanced Power System as well, and additional deployment. I mean, 3 very good cards here. Now, when I'm elite, I tend to skip additional deployment early on because it's very hard for me to get quad deployments down with how expensive my units are. Ion Blast, I really wanted to pick because I think it's such a good spell with only the 3-round cooldown. But man, speed is not bad here either, and that's going to serve me well throughout the game. Plus, it might allow me to dodge an enemy Ion Blast by utilizing the mobile beacon and the bonus speed. And so I end up going for Advanced Power System here because of that reason. It's a bit cheaper, and I thought, well, I am pushing in after all, so the speed will come in handy. As you can see here, we're going to start beaconing on the diagonal into the other tower now, trying to avoid at least part of that Ion Blast because I was expecting him to kind of put it over here. We're going to add some more steel balls in the mix as well. And we're going to start pushing in from the left diagonal as well. So we're now attacking the left tower from 2 different angles with another steel ball and the Wraith being added. Opponent already grabs that second tech, range enhancement, now picked up. Level 2 Wraith on this side as well. Bit scary. But at least we have a better front line for the time being, right? Lots of steel balls, the level 2 Phantom Rays. Missiling here that wall, by the way, and the cannon that's right behind. That way the steel balls can maybe get in and grab a tower debuff. Right side, though, not having a good time. He does manage to take out about 1/3 of my army there with the Ion Beam, but at least the left side seems to be just fine. And as we're running away, we're blasting his army. The sledgehammers, the steel balls, the hounds, all getting killed by our high-level Wraith. Now the question is, can we somehow get rid of this enemy Wraith, though? Because it is very scary with that bonus range, and look at that damage it's outputting. Crazy, crazy stuff. The Phantoms, though, they do come in, and it will be just enough to take him down. Very happy with this round. It's super close, but considering he went for that expensive spell, and we didn't, I'm very, very happy that we're managing to pick up another win here. Keep in mind, too, I don't have range on my Wraith just yet, and the fact that I'm able to kind of, yeah, win around there with 1/3 of my army gone, and being a tech down in the mirror is a massive, massive boon for us. Round number 6, another pack of unit reinforcements. Not too happy with this one because we see that level 3 Farseer show up. And, well, opponent was very quick to pick it up and immediately tech it with aerial specialization. For me, I could pick it as well, but I felt like I had, like, good enough anti-air for the time being. And I kind of just wanted to get more frontline. I didn't see myself getting easy lock-ons on his Wraith because I'm the one pushing in. Whereas he kind of sits back and lets me, yeah, well, push into him with the Wraith kind of getting closer and closer to his Farseers. So I wanted to try and diversify the matchup a little bit if I could. And that means that I'm going to end up going for Fortress here as a bit of a frontline option because I do have some space for it. And if he does go for Farseer, his DPS will be somewhat on the low side of things. Farseer can still dish out a good amount of damage, especially at level 3, but it's not specialized at getting rid of things like fortresses, right? So it kind of provides that little bit of extra tankiness. I'm also diversifying the tanks that I have because I have steel balls, right? Kind of mid-sized, needs things like a Raiden or a Scorpion to kill. And then I have something like a Fortress, which would require more so, you know, a Titan or a Melter, whatever you may have. Level 3 Wraith, by the way, we finally managed to get the second tech ourselves. 2 Farseers left and right, though. Very, very scary. And look at that damage. Level 3 Phantom, that was doing so well before, now just simply going to die to that level 3 Farseer. My level 2 Wraith already down 2. It's doing its very best, but yeah, we still haven't been able to grab something to photon our Wraith with. And so it gets disabled, it moves forward into the range of that Farseer, and suddenly things are not looking so good for us on round number 6. Large amount of damage is what we're taking here immediately. Factory Master has equalized the score. Luckily for us, you know, we started with a big chunk of hit points, so we are able to take a round like this, but not too many, because we'll be in trouble otherwise. Round number 7, nothing too interesting. I guess a quick teleport there could have been nice to pick up. I probably should have, just in case I want to like throw a crawler back there and distract him. But, you know, we skip, we min-max our economy. And, well, now I'm thinking the only thing I really need is frontline. It's either that or I go for something like a boat, which I guess is what I do now. So we're going to pick up that Overlord with the photon emission. But as you can see, that ate through my 1500 resources very quickly, as we're already down to about 300. Now, I do sell my level 3 Phantom for 400 since I saw that it was, you know, feeding the enemy Farseer and dying basically as quick as a level 1 Phantom would. And by retrieving that money, we're able to grab, I believe, another pack of chaff, I wanted to say. I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing. Yes, a crawler all the way in the top left. What I was trying to do here is move in and hopefully grab a Tara debuff, while all of these units get pulled backwards by that crawler flank. And then I think we also pick up a steel ball to replace that Phantom we had there. This unit, you know, is not an aerial unit, so it'll be slightly more difficult for the Farseer to take out, hopefully. Keep in mind, my opponent is loaning here, as he has picked up 2 more Wraith. And let's see, can the photon coating here do well? Now, I'm pretty happy with the boat. It does have a lot of DPS. The only downside to it, I guess, is that it's also an air unit. So at this point, I am starting to give him a lot of value in terms of targets that the Farseer wants to shoot at. And yeah, oof. Down to 2k already here. Not looking fantastic. But at the very least, we've managed to get over that photon hurdle on Elite, which is a big one. Round number 8, another improved firepower control system shows up. I mean, we are getting so many good items here for the Wraith. 2 improved and 1 haste module. And yeah, finally this round we're going to start building more frontline as I level the fortress I had and I buy 2 more. And I'm going to add those to the right side to really try and snowball that side of the board. I'm not really paying too much attention here to that left side. I know that it's dying, but I feel like it's not worth investing into, yeah, reinforcing it right now, since my opponent has so many units back there. And I feel like on the right side, with the addition of the fortresses, I can mount somewhat of a push that will be successful in grabbing a tower and killing most of his units. Now, I am loaning here. Temp speed is very important when you're playing fortresses like that on the line. I will say, though, slight misposition for me. These fortresses should have been 1 square backwards, so I could have at least like thrown a wasp or a crawler, whatever, in front to prevent any insta-locks. I did know that he has no access to heavy target lock, so playing fortress on the line like this should be just fine. But yeah, that is a slight kind of inaccuracy there. I have sold my Wraith on the left since it was worth quite a lot, and it was also hoarding a very good item. So we're now throwing that on a new Wraith in the middle to help out this guy over here. Couple of missiles from both of us, trying to take down at least one of those Void Eye packs. Not that it matters too much since I do have the Photon, but yeah. Just trying to make sure that we can get in as fast as possible. And I will say, though, these fortresses are very, very tanky, right? Like, they've got the level 2, they've got the photon coating as well, and that makes it very tough for my opponent to get in. We've managed to take out most of his Farseers, although one is still alive. But it does seem to get stuck a little bit on my high-level Wraith, and, well, the DPS from these fortresses is nothing to laugh at. Very, very powerful units. All 3 of them still alive, in fact. Left side tower with the reinforcements, able to withstand those crawlers and prevent a debuff from happening. And so now we're starting to turn the table somewhat, and I'm pretty happy with how this is looking. Round number 9, another improved firepower shows up, so we could have 3, which is crazy. A very high rolly game in terms of items, but I guess both of us are playing a mirror, so it's not like that one-sided. Advanced missile device, though, not a bad pick either. I mean, if I look at his front line, he has these 2 high-level sledgehammer packs, and both of them could get one-shot by that 15,000 damage that an advanced missile would do. Like, clearing the way might just be worth it over grabbing another improved firepower. Like, I feel like I've already stacked so much damage that this is starting to get very overkill. And so I will pick up that advanced missile device spec. I could have gone for a super heavy as well on the fortress, I guess, level 3. But I was a bit afraid he would try and, yeah, like target me with a melter or ranged steel ball, something like that. Ion Blast, by the way, back off cooldown, which is why you will see me sell one of my fortresses to make sure that I don't have too much value stacked up on that right side where I'm expecting it to be. And I can also retrieve resources to mount a much bigger attack suddenly on that left side. You can see here 2 more fortresses picked up as well as an overlord. We have the temp speed, the temp range. We're moving as many units across as we can with that wraith and the boat going to the left, trying to avoid again where we're expecting that Ion Blast to be. The advanced missiles trying to hit the sledgehammers here and kind of open up the path. I will say though, this one is poorly positioned. It's going to hit the wall as well. I could hit this, but it should be a little bit more to the right. But yeah, the idea here is to kind of clear the path and make sure that we can move in as fast as possible and perhaps grab a tower debuff on the left. Opponent goes for the factory. Finally, it shows up. Round number 9. So we've managed to really kind of offset when he wants to buy the factory in this game by going heavily into air. And looks like we've done a decent job of clearing things up here. We're going to be able to move in. All of my wraiths do go down, but if I can at least kill the factory here, I'd be pretty happy with that. Good debuff timer, and we are going to be able to kill that Titan. Now, do we have enough to take down the wraith? I'm not too sure. Doesn't quite look like it. It's awfully close, but not quite going to be enough there. But we survive, which is the important thing, right? Like, we had no Ion Blast that round. So the fact that we're able to survive and not take too much damage in the process is very, very good for us. Round number 10, nothing of real value on this board, I'd say. The rhinos would just die. I guess I could go Stormcaller with EMP, but I mean, that's a little bit out there. I go for the Typhoons instead. I can sell one of them, and then the other 2 I'm going to use as a front line, basically as a chaff unit for my fortresses here instead of a crawler. I don't care about it dying. I just don't want my fortress to get immediately locked by, let's say, a factory. And at the same time, they might help out a little bit with chaff clear. Now, this round, I just decide to go ham on the fortresses. I go range, I go overload to really amp up our DPS. And whilst normally I would say fortress has no good matchup or doesn't have a good matchup into carry factory with range and overload, that might change if you've got, you know, stacking photon, really good chaff clear, and high levels plus double tech on your fortresses. I mean, we've got 5 fortresses, one of which is already level 3, and we've got boats to back them up as well. This might not be that bad of a scenario for us to be in. Opponent goes for rhinos on the flanks. Now, I have leveled both of these towers, and he will have to spawn in as well. So, whether or not that will do something, I guess we'll have to see. An opponent, no money to buy another factory, so it's just going to be this level 2 with double tech on the right side that we need to get through. This time around, I'm not going to beacon anything in a weird way. Simply going to try and zerg him on the right side of the board. Opponent has purchased more steel balls. I was kind of expecting him to range those, but instead he went for that factory last round. And yeah, I mean, look at this. High-level wraith taking down the steel balls very easily. Fortress locked onto that factory just makes quick work of it. And as we grab a debuff, 9 seconds of debuff, things are looking really good for us here. I mean, we've got so many units left alive. The Farseer will take down one more Overlord. And perhaps even take down another Wraith. Wow, okay, that is doing a really good job so far. Will he be able to take down another Rhino here? I mean, the Rhino is chopping. Wow, takes down another fortress there. So, able to probably clean up enough here not to die. But, I mean, still, that looks very convincing. And yeah, it will actually make sure that he lives by killing those air units and that fortress. Round number 11, Amplifying Core shows up. Fantastic item there for the level 4 fortress that we have. This guy is no joke. 42,000 damage every 0.9 seconds. The factory only has 15,000 every 0.9. And even though it has 4 guns, only 2 of them will be shooting at my fortress. So it actually is out DPSing the factory whilst having more hit points on top of things. Kind of a crazy scenario here to be in. I am going to mobile beacon backwards some of the steel balls to try and deal with that rhino on the flank. Same thing here. Maybe we just pick up a steel ball. Opponent picked up Wasp Swarm, which I don't think I really noticed this late in the game. Now, my towers are leveled, so I don't think it's too big of an issue, but we'll have to see if we defend it at all or if it's going to be completely open and start kind of working away at our tower defenses. This round, more fortress levels picked up. All of them are level 3, with one exception, that level 4 monster on the right side. First defense enhancement finally picked up on round 11. It's a bit late, I know, but that's just how this game ended up. Levels on the Wraith as well. Steel ball here in the back to try and defend this rhino. Opponent sells one of them. And, well, we'll have to see how this goes. Not entirely sure what I purchased here. I did sell one of the Typhoons. I guess I purchased a steel ball and maybe a crawler. Yeah, I think that's what I did. Crawler here behind this fortress. And let's see. Good missiles there. You can see that we're making good use out of that advanced missile device spec. It doesn't really show, but we're taking out like high-level sledgehammers there at the start of the round, and that gives us a lot of time to start locking onto those factories and blast them with the fortresses. Now, they have received a bit of a buff lately. They got another 5% bonus attack after, I think, a 7% buff. So their attack is starting to get significant, but in this particular game, I'd say it's also, you know, us being able to recruit fortresses at level 2 and already having so many of them on the board by the time that factory shows up that it's looking quite good in this scenario. His Wasp do take down my tower eventually, but it's going to be too little too late as we've got plenty of units left alive. The Wraith will take down the last standing unit from Factory Master. After 11 rounds, we will take the win. Kind of a crazy game. A fun one. I mean, I was happy I could play some Elite. Always fun with that 5,700 hit point start. And yeah, being able to get into those Wraith. Crazy items. Both of us going into a mirror. I have played him a lot of times, so I kind of know his patterns, which is why I'm able to just kind of, yeah, slam the Wraith and not have to worry too much about other Wraith counters up until that point where the Farseer drop shows up, and there we have to really start thinking about, you know, our front line. We pick up that fortress. We first kind of get over that hurdle of dealing with the first threat, which was this EMP Void Eye. Photon coating has been picked up, and then we can start investing into the fortresses, as he didn't have a good answer to it on the board at the time, and eventually it just snowballs out of control. Some good movements with the beacons to try and play around the spells, and well, that's all it takes. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up. Let me know down below what you thought of it. Have you tried out Fortress lately with the attack buffs that it's gotten, or do you still kind of struggle with it? Let me know. If you want to stay up to date with latest content, please consider subscribing. And if you want to see me play live, check me out on Twitch. With that being said, take care, guys, and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.